Okay, Asia session live. Currently looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, not usually a pair that I trade on the weekdays, but it's been moving really well recently. Took a couple trades on it, had some good results, so I'm still continuing to look at Bitcoin. This was something that I saw on the Discord. I saw weekly trend momentum last week, and what I wanted to see last week was a trend retracement setup. Pull back to the breakout level, fake out the momentum time frame, show me rejection at the top, and then on the flips of breakout levels, I can take this back down. Didn't do that last week. We did have those breakouts that I was looking for, but there was no rejection at the top. If there's no rejection at the top, I'm waiting for the trend reversal move. Never did that, just continued pushing up, got in consolidation, and then on Friday, finally got that rejection I was looking for right at that breakout level, which is perfect. And then as price flipped the daily breakout level, wanted to take a continuation trade, but there was no continuations, and that was it. So with my trading on that first bar, I'm always waiting for that trend retracement setup. That's the first trade that I'm looking for on the breakout bar. If it doesn't happen, pulls back even higher, then I'm looking for a trend pullback, faking out the previous week high. If that doesn't happen, then I'm looking for a reversal at the top. This is really aggressive, but as long as higher time frames are pushing in my direction, then I don't mind taking this trade. None of these played out. And so if they don't play out, then I'm looking for a second bar trade, looking for the continuation setup. So right now we have a breakout bar followed by an inside. And so I'm looking for either a trend continuation or a trend pullback. The only difference between these is where the breakout level is. So we have the weekly breakout level right here, and the fake out of the previous week high is above that weekly breakout level. So if the previous week high is above the breakout level, then I'm looking for a trend pullback. But because the range here is so tiny, I do see this more as a trend continuation. But technically, this is a trend pullback. I trade them both exactly the same though. So the setup for a trend pullback is for price to come up, fake out the previous week high, as well as the momentum time frame, which is right here, the previous day high. Want them both faked out, and then I can look for reversal patterns to take this back down. But obviously, right now it is just breaking down to the downside. So I don't have this trend pullback set up. But what I'm looking for now is I want to see this bar close. Actually, I can probably drop down to lower time frames here. 30 minutes, I'll look at the 30-minute close. And then I could use this 30-minute bar as my trend momentum bar. That would be closing as a bearish breakout bar, and then the whole cycle starts over again. I'd be looking for that trend retracement setup on this 30-minute bar. So we go to the 30 seconds. This is where I trade the 30-minute, and then I'll see if this can pull back. So again, to explain, initially I saw that move on the weekly, looking for a trend retracement setup on the weekly. Didn't give me that trend retracement setup. Now I'm looking for a trend pullback, but it's not coming up to fake out the previous week high, or at least not yet. And if it doesn't do that, then the only way I can get in is by using the next bar as my trend momentum bar. So I went from weekly to the H2. Didn't get a setup here, but now I'm going to be looking at the H2 or the M30 and then dropping down and trading that. So I went from weekly to H2. Now I'm going from 30-minute to 30 seconds, but the exact same idea. Find the trend momentum bar, the bar that is breaking out, that is moving, and then I want to trade the continuation. Didn't get that set up, so now I'm looking for the bar that's moving, and I'm looking for the continuation on lower time frames. So the setups, they work every single time frame. The strategy is completely fractal. It's all structured perfectly, and I'm just waiting for this to close. If I don't get the trend retracement, if it doesn't give me that pullback and it continues to break out, either I'm looking for the trend breakout setup or I go to a higher time frame and then see if I get the trend retracement on this time frame. And if I don't, same thing happens. First thing I'm looking for is the pullbacks. If it doesn't do that and it breaks out, I'll see if I have a breakout setup. If I don't, then I go to the higher time frame and process repeats. Right, so let's see what happens here. 5 minutes. Starting to pull back here. Gonna set some alerts so I don't need to sit and watch this thing. And I'll be back. It's dropping a little bit farther than I want, but Let's see. Okay, this is falling a lot more than I want, so I'm definitely going to be waiting for a deeper pullback than the 30 minutes. So I'm going to be looking at the 1 hour, 1 minute, I mean, and setting the alerts on that. It's almost close to that H1 bar close, so I'll see if this can pull back. Usually, moves like this, I would prefer deeper pullbacks. Not so familiar with how crypto moves, so I have to be a little bit careful here. But basically, I want to be trading the reversal pattern. The reversal pattern, this only happens at swing points. So just to be safe, this is the safest one to take. These ones happen in between swing points, so I definitely want to be waiting for this one just to be safe since I'm not really familiar with how crypto moves. And so I already know that the only way that can happen is if we have an M15 bullish breakout bar. Because right now the breakout levels are pushing down. The M15 is the momentum time frame. You can see that we don't have any way for me to enter this on the M15 just yet. And what I want to see is a bullish breakout, which would push the breakout level up. Probably not this bar, but at some point, hopefully, this does push up and give me a bullish breakout so that I can get in on the reversal pattern. Don't think it's going to be this one, but the idea is that I want to see that reversal pattern. That lets me know that the M15 has created a swing point, and then I'll get in and take the rest. Hopefully, it does pull back. This is a pretty strong move. I don't want it to touch previous week low. If it does that, then I won't be looking at this. But yeah, definitely going to be waiting for that reversal pattern. I think it might take some time, so probably will be back at some other point. Okay, so this is just continuing to break out. Did fake out the high, not really what I was waiting for. I wanted to see a bullish breakout over here so I can confirm that swing point. Didn't do that, so I didn't take this one. Technically, you could probably find an entry here. Not really the cleanest. So didn't have anything there. Went up to the 2 hour. It's just continuing to break out. So again, if it just continues to break out, and I'm either going to be waiting for the pullback move, which would need to fake out on the H2 is breaking out. So I'd need to see a fake out of the M30 to take it down. But I think we're getting too close to this H4 bar. So I'm going to be reframing the trade to the H4. So I started off with the M30, went up to the H1, H2, didn't have anything there. Maybe could have found something here if I dropped down to maybe the 15 seconds to see how that 15-minute bar is. Actually, let me do that. I don't mind dropping down like this if I'm sitting here and actively trading, but I wasn't actively watching this. So we did have a fake out of the M15, didn't get below breakout levels until here. This would be the first time. Indicator lets me know exact bar that I'm going to need to look at, the counter trend breakout. That's an aggressive entry to take this move, but if I wanted to get in, that would be the way that I'd do it. Wasn't sitting here watching this thing, so wasn't going to go for that sort of scalping entry. Then I went to the H2, it's just continuing to break out. Needed to see a pullback, but now it's getting too close to the H4, so now I'm looking at the H4. So I already set my alerts here. I want to see price fake out the H1 high, and if it does that, then I'll look for an entry. I always like the H1 fake outs better because to look at this H1 bar, I look at the M1. M1 is the H1 is the setup time frame. So very often I can find some scalp entries on the M1, and it's a lot more comfortable than dropping down to the 15 seconds or 5 seconds to trade these bars. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll wait for this H4 bar to close. Hopefully it pulls back and gives me the entry here. If it just continues, then I'll be looking at the higher time frames, the 12 hour, and possibly I won't even get the trade. I'll look at the daily for tomorrow or something. It is breaking out of a range here. Usually when price breaks out of a range, they would pull back. So just have to be a little bit patient here. First, session of the week, first day of the week, I'm a lot more conservative, and I would be more aggressive if this were later in the week. If I've already banked in some profit, then I'll go for more aggressive entries. But right now, I'm just gonna be conservative with this. So waiting for this H4, and then let's see. Okay, here we go. Finally, prices pulling back. First time it has triggered that H1. And so we have an M15 breakout bar over here, it seems like. Bullish breakout. Okay, so ideal scenario now is for the next M15 to close bullish breakout, push this breakout level up. And then I'd be looking for rejection and a continuation back down. Okay, let me just double check here. H4, trigger that. Let me get rid of this. Actually, not yet. H1 is in a continuation pattern, breakout level, price is coming up. Trigger that H1 high. Did not fake it out just yet. And so what I'm looking at on the H1 is this pattern on the H1 breakout. Price came down, faked out the low over here, faking out the, or not faked out the high yet, but triggered it. Once it gets back under, then I could look for breakout continuation moves on a lower time frame. And again, I'm not entirely sure what times crypto trades well. So if I don't know the time, I'm just going to follow my regular routines. Looking at this one, I'd like it to close breakout. Yeah, so same exact thing on the M15. I'd like to see that M15, but I would prefer to watch this H1 close bullish breakout, and then same thing. So I think I'd rather look for this on the H4. But essentially, whichever one gives me the reversal pattern first is the time frame I'm going to enter. Reversal patterns only happen at swing points. So if I see it on any of them, I'm going to go for it. The H2 has an inside bar. Let's see that H2. This one's all right, but no rejection at the top. Okay, so I guess I'm going to be looking at these three time frames. I definitely would prefer one of these time frames to give me a bullish breakout first before looking for an entry. Then take it down to previous week low. So it's a real shame that I didn't have any way to enter any of these. At least on the time frames I was looking at. I can definitely look for one on the 15-minute, but wasn't doing that. Okay, so not going to do anything with this movement right now. Just going to wait for this M15 bar to close, and then I'll reassess. I also would like to see that 30-minute rejection at the top. Just going to mark this off. If it gets back up. It's not ready yet, but let's see. Okay, it's setting up nicely. We have a breakout bar on the M30. Pushes that M30 breakout level here. So now this is the reversal pattern. We got that fake out, or at least triggered that M30 high. Entry on the M2 is below this M30 breakout level. Since we're right below this, right above this M30 low, I'll probably just wait for price to get below that level. So this would be the entry on the H2 trend retracement. Not the best one because I don't see any levels over here. Usually I want to be breaking out of a particular level. But don't mind looking at this as trying to catch this pullback. On the H1, which I look at on the M1, We have a bearish breakout followed by a bullish fake out. This is a trend continuation, but we have not faked out the H1 high. So I'm not ready to be looking for a trade here. I'd need to get underneath that H1 high. Last time 15 closed bullish breakout. The breakout level is up. Entry is the exact same position as that one on the M2. So I like that. And on the M3, we're 15 minutes away from the new H1. And so if this closes bullish breakout, then this breakout level gets pushed to this position, which would be a reversal pattern if that happens. And then I'd be looking for ideal scenario is rejection of the top and then entry once we flip that H1 breakout level. Same exact position as the rest. So lots of good confluence here. Going to be waiting for this. I don't take trades 15 minutes before the H1, especially when it's a breakout bar that's going against my bias. So I'll be waiting for this H1 bar to close and then looking for an entry. And again, I'm not entirely sure of the trading times on crypto. If anybody has more experience with that, or if they follow the session times, then please let me know. But right now, I'm just going to see if there's momentum. If there's momentum, I'm going to take it. But I would prefer if it actually gives me an entry right at London Open, which is about an hour from now. So let's see. So usually I'm waiting for London, but I also don't mind trading that German Open, which happens in 15 minutes. The only reason I don't have it is I just don't want to be at the charts all day. But recently I've been working a lot on the course, so I've been sitting at my computer a lot, and I try to follow my times. But if something happens at that German Open, I don't mind having a look, but I would prefer London. Okay, we're coming up, triggering that H1 high. So this is what I want to see. And now time check, 20 minutes until London Open. So it looks like I'll be waiting for London to open. Ideal scenario is close in breakout, pushes this breakout level up, and then look for some rejection. Let's see. Kind of makes sense to reject at this breakout level. So I wouldn't want price to get up much higher than this. And if it does that, a rejection somewhere up here, then I can get in on the flip. We'll do this again. Flip low of H4 is what I would expect some resistance. So something like this. This is ideal scenario. Um, I don't want to trade right into the H4 low, so most likely I would wait until price gets below that H4 low, which also happens to be the bearish H2 breakout level. Okay, so it makes sense. This would be a pullback on the H2. But let's see, I like how it's closing or how it's bullish at the moment. All right, so nothing else for me to do. It's behaving how I want it so far, it's cooperating. So now I just need to wait for London Open, 20 minutes. Okay, H2 bar closed bullish breakout. So this is in play now. Now what I want to see is a rejection at the top. If I get rejection, then I can get in on the flip of the H1. That would be an early entry. We have a bearish breakout followed by a bullish fake out. This is a trend. Where's the breakout level? Way up here, I think. Yep. So this would be a trend continuation. Bearish breakout followed by bullish fake out. Looking for price to fake out. Usually, I like that breakout level to be closer. So there's a possibility that they can pull back a bit more. But again, if I get the momentum, then I don't mind going for it. So I want to see a fake out here, and then the entry would be a flip with a breakout level. Technically, that first trade of a trend pullback is trend continuation is down to the fake out level, which would be right over here. So it's a really tight range. probably safer to wait until the whole thing gets underneath the H1 low. Okay, so these two are in play right now, faking out the high. If I get that, I can get in below the H1 breakout level. But if it doesn't give me rejection at the top, then I'm waiting for the breakout of the H1. Okay, so nothing for me to do, just wait. Okay, trigger that H1 high. Now the H1 breakout level is in play. So this could be an early entry. Getting below the H1 also gets below the H2. M30 is right here. Probably wait for that M30 since it's so close. Okay, so this is what I'll be waiting for. Actually, I'll move that back and I'll decide if I'm going to get in later. Okay, so everything that I want is already here. I just need to see that fake out and flips of breakout levels. I'm looking at it on the H4, which is a trend continuation. Again, it'd be better if it's higher up. There seems to be some levels over here. Trend reversal here seems a bit better. It's the same exact entry though. Okay, just waiting for price to reverse. Okay, we got the early entry here on the H1. Not taking that one. I'm looking more at the H2 as well as the H4, which would be below the H1 breakout level. But if I were to size into the trade, I wouldn't mind taking something here. And then as price continues on my way, I would size in. But again, I'm not too familiar with how crypto moves. So I am going to wait until I get a bit better confirmations. And I'm more comfortable on the H2 as well as the H4. See that H8? Very often I want to see which time frame is setting up the best. And the way that I do that is just by looking at the pattern, the alignment patterns. If I see the reversal pattern, which actually I'm seeing over here, again, these breakout levels are so far. Usually I don't like to go for these if it's too far away. So the M5 also looks not too bad, which looks at that H8. This is a trend retracement. Have the last bullish breakout of the H2, and then can find the reversal pattern here. There's that M30. Maybe I should wait for that M30. Okay. All right. I like what's happening. I just need to be patient for the entry. Okay, looking for a sell over here. We have a bullish breakout bar in the H1, and we're flipping the M15 here. So this is a trend reversal. Flag icons at the trend reversal on the H1, bearish on the H1, bullish breakout. That is a trend reversal. Looking for, got the 10-second close. I think it was somewhere around here. Okay, I'm in this already. Stop at the high. All right, so this is a trend reversal on the H1. Technically, the trade is down to the breakout level. Right, we have that bullish breakout with the bearish trend. Whenever I'm taking reversals, we have a bullish breakout, bearish trend. I want to see a fake out and a reversal pattern at the top. So price came up, faked out the H1 high as well as the M15 high, the momentum time frame. And once it triggers that, I'm looking for my reversal alignment patterns. H1's in breakout reversal. Breakout reversals, I'm looking for reversal alignments. Reversal continuation pullback, 99% of the time, this is the one that I want to trade. So we have a breakout of the M15 high over here. Price rejected at the top. That's a breakout reversal. And then the safe entry is the false breakout. In this case, waited for the trend reversal since it's really close. And so this trend reversal trade technically is down to the breakout level, but because we have hard time frames, I do want to hold it longer, and I'm trying to get in early here on the H4. So the H4, we're breaking out of the H4 high. So H4 traders are bullish breakout. I don't want to reverse this move unless there's a lower time frame fake out, and that's what I use that momentum time frame for. Once we fake out the H1 high, this is the first sign of a reversal, but that reversal is not confirmed until we get below the H1 breakout level. So H1 is still not bearish, but this is why I drop down to the M1 and wait for that M15 flip. If the M15 is bearish, then there's a good chance that the H1 is flipping bearish. And if the H1 is flipping bearish, then the H4, there's a good chance that the H4 would be flipping bearish as well. So finding that move from the low time frames, and then I go on up. That's pretty much how I structure the trades. And so what I want to do right now is trying to get in on this pullback, right? We have this strong push. I'm trying to get in on that pullback and at least hold it down to this H4 low. There's a fake out right there, so probably around there. Ideal scenarios to get it down to at least that previous week low. So let's see what it does here. I'm just going to mark these off. And that's it. So everything about my trading can be seen in this one little graphic. It's all about finding the higher time frame direction. Higher time frame direction is bearish, and then I'm waiting for price to pull back to get in on those lower time frame moves. And then every time frame you can break down into smaller time frames. And so the whole idea on the H4, there are 4 H1 bars, right? So each H1, if it turns bearish, there's a good chance that the H4 is starting to flip bearish. So I'm using lower time frames to let me know what the higher time frame is about to do. And because here we have the first sign of a reversal, I'm using the M15. That's the confirmation time frame for this. If the H1 gets below that, if it closes below and we have the fake out, that lets me know that the H1 is possibly flipping bearish. It's a reversal in the H1. This is the exact pattern I'm looking for in the H1. Yeah, and then I just take from the low, and I'm just trying to get in, use the low time frames to let me know what the higher time frames are doing. And then so this is how I can size into trades as well. I enter on that one, and then as the H1 breakout level flips, I can size in, and then as the H2 level flips, I can size in. As the H4 level flips, I can size in. Plenty of places I can size into these trades, but it is Monday, and I'm not going to be so aggressive just yet. I'm a lot more aggressive once I've picked up some profit, but for now, I'm just going to take this, and that's it. Most likely to the low of the month here. Okay, just triggered my alert. Had my alert right here. Nice move on this, and going to be done. So about 4 hour in this move. Picked off a really nice entry here on the M1. It did come up. This was an aggressive one because it did not get below that breakout level. But this is why I keep my stops at the very high. In order for this to come up and take me out, it had to flip breakout levels and get above peaks. And so this is why I like to keep my stops at the high. If this got taken out, if price did come up and take me out here, then I would have just re-entered as price got below the M3 over here. This would be the next entry that I'd be going for. This is a trend reversal entry. We have that H1 breakout level. Any closures underneath here would be valid on this time frame, which is where I was looking at, that H4. And this one closed and continued. So this would have been the next entry. But I always like, or not always, but today I preferred that more aggressive one. This would have been a 2R trade, just to get that higher R. And that's it. So 4R in this move picked off the exact moment that it started flipping. And that's why I just look at momentum. I don't need any other indicators or anything like that. I just need to see breakout levels, peak levels, and where is closing price. And that's it. All right. So that's all. What was that? Something on the H4. I think it was on the H4 that I saw, or it might have been. I always forget which time frames I look at because it always changes. I think I started off at the H1 or and the M30, and then it just continues up. And I ended up here on the H4, I believe. And yeah, so that's it. Gonna do my trade journal, upload this, and done. So really good start to the week. Last week I only took 2 trades. Took one loss and one break even. It was a losing week, the first losing week in a really long time, maybe in over a year. So um, hopefully this week gives me a get back on track. And that's it.